What if instead of one OpenClaw agent, you could have an entire team of OpenClaw agents working for you parallelly? Everyone talks about how powerful OpenClaw is, but very few people know about the ability to create agent teams within OpenClaw. Just like reality, there is going to be a manager of the team, which is going to interact with you directly. And underneath that manager would be teammates that have specified designated roles. They have their own identity, they have their own tasks, they have their own skills, and they report directly to the manager, which reports to you. So if you want to set up your own team of agents within OpenClaw, watch this video till the very end. For the people who are watching my video for the very first time, my name is Yashika Jain. I'm an AI automation expert running my own agency called Automates AI, wherein we help businesses automate their processes using AI. If you're interested, you can check out our website, link in the description. So if you're ready, let's get started. So let's start by understanding the structure of these agent teams. So as I said, there's going to be the admin, which is going to be at the top of the hierarchy, and the admin will be speaking directly to you. Then there will be team members that have their own roles. The admins are going to assign the tasks to the team members are going to report them back, and the team members can also speak to one another if needed. Let's see what OpenClaw themselves tell us about agent teams. The documentation has a page called multi-agent routing, which tells us that we can create multiple isolated agents. They have their own separate workspace and sessions. And if we scroll down here in much more detail, they have told us that multiple agents mean multiple people or multiple personalities. With multiple agents, each agent ID becomes a fully isolated persona. They can have different phone numbers or accounts. They can have different personalities, meaning each agent can have workspace files like agents.md and soul.md, and they can have separate auth plus sessions. This lets them share one gateway server, meaning one server, one account, while keeping their AI brains and data isolated. Each of them works inside their own workspace with their own identity, persona, data, tasks, skills, and they do not interfere in someone else's tasks. Now, obviously, if you are setting up a team of agents, it is going to cost you more tokens. So it is very important to understand when you should go with a single agent and when you should go with an agent team. In case of a single agent, which we use most of the time, we have a task that we give it. There is one agent which has the required tools, the memory, and the context to then give us the output. This has to be used when the task is self-contained, or the overall context must stay unified, or else if the steps are sequential, one after the other, if the speed matters, if you want to save on costs, and it is towards one domain and you need a single output. In that case, you can stick to single agent, which is simpler, faster, and with fewer failures. In case of a multi-agent, we give it the task, it goes to the admin or the orchestrator, which is then designated to the team members. In this example, we have the research agent, the writer, and the QA agent. And based on all of the outputs received from these different teammates, we get the final output by the orchestrator. This should be used when your tasks can run in parallel. This setup is also recommended if different expertise is needed. For example, here the research agent has a different expertise, whereas a QA agent has a different expertise. And since these are working in an isolated manner, the QA agent's job is not going to be affected by the writer agent. It's also recommended if the context window is too long or if the work needs validation, because we always have the orchestrator which can validate things, and you can also have a teammate that can validate the outputs of the other teammates. This is more powerful, more complex, costs more tokens. Now let's go ahead and set up agent teams. Now let me tell you that this is not the only way of setting up an agent team, which is having an admin and the team members. Obviously, you can set up team members and you can speak to each one of them separately. For example, you can have Telegram accounts, WhatsApp accounts for each team member, and you can speak to them separately. But I personally prefer having a team admin that delegates, communicates, does everything on my behalf so that I can save my time. So let's start by setting up OpenClaw. If you already have it set up, great. If not, you can follow along. As we all know, OpenClaw is open source. We have to set it up ourselves on a server. So it's up to you if you want to get a physical server like a Mac Mini and set it up there, or if you want to rent a virtual server and set it up there. For simplicity, I'm going to set up OpenClaw on a virtual private server, which is a VPS. Because it's going to be quick. It's just like clicking a few buttons and it will be set up. And also I don't want to buy a Mac Mini just for OpenClaw. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, one of the easiest ways of setting up OpenClaw virtually is through Hostinger. They let you deploy OpenClaw in one click, which takes less than 60 seconds. So in 60 seconds, we are going to have our private OpenClaw instance up and running. The setup process is done once, and then we can continue using it 24/7 on our preferred messaging channel, may it be Telegram, WhatsApp, whichever you prefer. So as they're showing here, we have to choose our AI provider, we have to choose the messaging app, and then we will have OpenClaw up and running and ready to chat with. Another issue that beginners could face while setting up OpenClaw is managing it over time. And to solve that issue, you can go with their managed OpenClaw plan that requires zero effort from your end, meaning zero maintenance. It has built-in Telegram and WhatsApp pairing. It has built-in access to AI. It has built-in web search, which is great, and built-in security. If you prefer to manage OpenClaw yourself, you can also go with their OpenClaw on a VPS plan. So you will find the link to this page in the description. Don't forget to use that link. And from there, you can scroll down to Managed OpenClaw and click on Choose Plan. Alright, so if you're within the card, from here you can choose the time period. So this is basically a monthly subscription. You can either go with 1 month, 12 months, or 24 months. The more the time, the better the price. Now, another great and new feature that Hostinger is providing is Nexus.ai credits. In that case, you won't have to connect your own ChatGPT Claude account. You can directly start using OpenClaw without any extra AI setup. And a free extension that they are providing is instant web search for your OpenClaw. Don't forget to check this, which is going to get you 1000 credits of Oxy Labs. That will help OpenClaw browse the internet for real-time information, no accounts or scraping setup needed. It is free to start and you only pay when you want to top up the credits. And this is an extension, meaning it is up to you if you want to go with Nexus AI credits. If not, you can also connect it to your own Claude or OpenAI API account. Now, since you're watching this video, you can use the coupon code Yashika20 to get a flat 20% off on your cart value if you're either going with the 12 months plan or the 24 months plan. You'll find the coupon code along with the link in the description below. Don't forget to get some extra discounts. You can continue your purchase, and now let me show you how the rest of the process is done. Alright, so after you buy it, you'll get this confirmation screen, and soon after that, it will start setting up OpenClaw on our behalf. So this is going to include the backend configuration, the security management, everything. Okay, so that was quick, and now we have to connect OpenClaw to a messaging app. So this is basically the channel from where you will be operating OpenClaw. So I'm going to go with Telegram, so let me click on select. So we have to go ahead and create a bot inside of Telegram and then enter the bot token here. This is a basic setup which is needed to connect any AI agent in the world to Telegram. Alright, so I'm on Telegram and now we have to search for bot father, which is actually going to create the bot for us, and go with the one that has a blue tick. Then click on create a new bot. Let's give our bot a name. Let me just simply call it OpenClaw. Then we need to give it a username. The username must end in bot. Okay, once you have found a username, just click on create bot and then copy this token, and let's come back here and let's paste it right here and let's click on next. Now we have to go back to the bot we just now created. So just search it by the username. Okay, so here is my bot. Let me click on start. And now we need to paste this particular pairing code back in Hostinger, which is this one, TPK7, the one in purple. Now coming back here, this is the correct pairing code and I'm going to approve this. And that's it, it is connected. So you're all set. You can access the OpenClaw dashboard and you can start building your AI assistant. You can manage the AI provider from HPanel. Great. So let me click here, and that takes us to our OpenClaw dashboard. Here we have the different controls, the agents, the settings. Let's change it to night mode, for example. Alright, so the setup is done. It was very simple. Now it's up to you if you want to chat with OpenClaw here on the main dashboard. If so, you can bookmark the link. If not, we can also chat with it through Telegram, which is something that I would prefer moving forward. So let me say hi. So it's typing, and there we go. So what should I call you? Call me Yashika. I'll call you Ploy. You can give any name you want. So let's tell it the time zone. And it's asking for a signature emoji, so let me go with this one. So this is like a basic custom persona setup before we go into building the agent teams. By the way, right now we have a single agent set up. We just have one agent working on the other end, which is the default main agent. And now we will go ahead and set up different agents. Now the main question is, how exactly are we going to set up these agent teams? So there are two different ways of setting them up. So the first way is by prompting. So we're going to prompt our OpenClaw bot, the one we have just now set up on Telegram, to create these agents for us. We're going to define everything. Who is the team member, what is its identity, persona, skills, tasks, everything. But OpenClaw is going to set it up on our behalf. So this is more of an automated way of setting these up. The second way is commands. So you have to manually run commands one by one. This is a more controlled way of setting up these agent teams, but I would say that beginners won't find it very comfortable to do that. So we are going to go with the prompting method so that anyone out there can set up agent teams within OpenClaw. The very first prompt that we are going to send is going to be the core setup prompt, which is going to basically set up the team for us. In that particular prompt, we are going to give it the agent names, basically the teammates' names, the agent soul, which is the personality of that particular teammate. For example, someone dealing with the social media side is going to be more creative, but someone on the finance side is going to be more logical. Then we're going to give the agent's identity, roles, guidelines, responsibilities, everything. And then the names of the folders for each of these agents. Yes, they're all going to have their own folders, their own files, and also a shared folder for the entire team. So let me take you to my core setup prompt. So here's my prompt. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you access to this and all the future prompts that I use, but I would expect you to change them as per your use case, as per your needs before using them. You'll find the prompts in the description. And mind you, this is the prompt that we will be sending to OpenClaw, the bot we have just now set up. So we're telling it that step 1, you have to repurpose my current agent as Nova. So right now the agent that I had set up, which I called Chloe, we will be repurposing it. So we are going to call it Agent Nova, which is going to keep my existing Telegram bot and binding as they are, no changes to that. And it's going to update my current agent's identity to match Nova's role below. So Nova's role have been mentioned below, which it is going to follow. Do not change the token, account ID or any Telegram configuration. In step 2, I'm asking it to add these 3 agents to openclaw.json. Internal only, no Telegram binding for any of them. The reason why I have mentioned this is because each of them can have their own Telegram accounts. They can be separate Telegram bots, but I just want to have one bot, which is Nova, and then access my other 3 agents through it. So I'm telling it no extra Telegram binding for these agents. Then I'm mentioning the agents. So the ID in this case is the name of the agent. So the first one is called Sage. Then I am mentioning the workspace for it, which is .openclaw/workspace-sage. This is nothing else but a folder for this particular agent, which is Sage. And I'm mentioning the model as well. Then comes the second agent, which is Iris. Then the workspace for Iris, the model. And the third agent is called Rex. Step 3 is to enable sessions.send for all of these agents. Sessions.send basically allows these agents to talk to one another, to send messages to one another. This needs to be enabled, so just make sure to include this. Then we are creating folders for all of them. So remember we had created workspaces. So within those workspaces, we are creating folders, which is skills. So if we integrate any skill for any of these teammates, it is going to live within this particular folder, which is skills, which is within their workspace. This is just a way to, keep the files managed and in hierarchy so that each agent can easily access it without any problems. And there is also a folder which is shared among all of them. Then step 5 is to create files. So far we have been creating folders. Now it's time to create files. So each of this agent is going to have the following files. Soul.md. Soul.md is basically their personality, who they are, etc. Then agents.md, which contains everything about the agent, their roles, identity, what they have to do, what they don't have to do, everything. And then the memory.md, empty right now. And we're also asking it to create a file which is meeting memory, which is in the shared folder. and also brand context, which is again in the shared folder for all of the agents to access, which is going to contain the brand information, like, what the brand does, what is their target audience, color palette, stuff like that. Now coming to step 6, which is the most important, which is basically defining everything about these agents. So agent number 1, which is Nova, which is the admin, the one I am going to speak to, we are giving it a soul. In the soul, we are telling it that Nova is a sharp, decisive, brand-aware person. Never does the work herself. She owns the brief and the outcome. Always confirms delegation in one line before acting. Pings the CEO only when the task is complete or blocked. If the CEO says, do it now, she does it herself and bypasses all the delegations. Her tone is confident, concise, and zero waffle. Then the identity of Noah. Basically, the roles and the behavior. So it receives all the marketing requests from the CEO, which in this case is me, identifies the right agent to delegate that work to, which is either Sage or Iris or Rex, then delegates it using sessions_send, which is basically needed to send messages to the teammates, and then reads the brand context file before every delegation so that it has context and context is passed along, waits for the results, summarizes the results, and reports back to me with the file that was created, in case a file was created. Reports to me, manages Sage, Iris, and Rex, which are the teammates. Similarly comes the first teammate, which is underneath the admin. So Sage is the content creator. Sage is creative, platform native, copy obsessed. It thinks in hooks, punchy lines, scroll stopping formats, knows the difference between X tone, Instagram caption tone, Facebook post tone, and LinkedIn tone, never mixes them up, treats every brief like it could go viral. The tone is bold, human, and no corporate speak. So Sage is our social media manager. Identity handles all the social media content posts across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, never produces one generic post and just copies them all across. Then we're telling that X has a maximum limit of 280 characters. It should be punchy, opinion-led, thread format when needed. Instagram is basically all about hooks, visual context, maximum 5 hashtags. Facebook, LinkedIn, always reads the brand context, saves all the files to this particular folder and reports to Nova. Nova is our admin. Iris is our SEO and research guy. He is data informed, he is obsessed with keywords, thinks clear, has no fluff. For all SEO tasks, he does keyword research. For all newsletters, he gives 3 subject line options. He always reads the brand context, reports to Noah. Then we have Rex, which is our analytics guy. Again, precise, no nonsense, numbers first, handles all the analytics, produces weekly performance summaries, reports are always saved. The reports always include what went up and why, what went down and why, and a recommendation for next period. Reports to Noah. So this was agent's name, soul, identity, and the folders. And then step 7 is telling what is the startup sequence of all of these agents. Each of these agents read their soul.md so that they can get into the persona. Then they read their identity section so that they know what they have to do. They read the memory, they read the shared files, and they confirm readiness with a 1-line status. At the end, I am asking my OpenClaw bot to confirm that all the agents are registered. Nova is ready, bound to my existing Telegram bot. Sage, Iris, and Rex have no Telegram accounts. Sessions.send is active. All the workspace files and folders have been created, and list the full directory structure when done. So step 8 is more of a confirmation by our bot that this entire setup is done. Now I know it sounds more like a game where we are creating characters. It is actually that. And this is kind of a one-time setup that you have to, send this prompt once, write it yourself once. Once the agent team has been set up, you are going to see your productivity boost. So I will share the prompt with you. I really want you to change each of these agents' identity, soul, everything. You can increase the number of agents, decrease them. You can change the structure, and you can use Claude or ChatGPT to help you write the prompt, edit the prompt. It might seem like a lot to do in the beginning, but the results are worth it. So I hope you've understood what we are doing here. We are basically creating our agent team using plain English. So let's go ahead and send this to our OpenClaw bot, which is my Clawy, and let's see what it creates, what it does, and let's go from there. So back here, I am going to paste the prompt and let's see the magic it does. Alright, so it is asking for my confirmation to proceed with step 1. It has given the plan as well, what it is going to do exactly. If you want to make any changes, you can, but I'm just going to ask it to proceed. So it's saying step 1 complete, but at the bottom I can see an error that is saying that the edit to the soul.md file failed. Let me tell it that the soul.md file edit failed. Fix that before proceeding to step 2. Okay, so it actually updated it instead of editing. That is fine. So now it's saying that all is good and asking me if it can proceed with step 2. But before that, I'm going to go to our OpenClaw dashboard and we are going to see if it has actually made the changes about being Noah. And if so, we can proceed with step 2. So back to our dashboard, we are going to go to agents under agent. We are on our main agent, which is the default one. I'm just going to refresh this part. Now let me check the soul.md file. Okay, so Nova persona. You are Nova, the marketing admin. All good. Let's go to agents. Nova's workspace. Good. Let's go to identity. Nova, marketing admin. Great. So it did make those changes. It was just not bluffing. So now we can proceed to step 2. So let me tell it, good job. Proceed to step 2. You know, the benefit of giving the entire prompt at once is that it has context about what it has to do next, instead of, giving it small prompts and confirming and moving forward. It is just good to give it in one chunk and then it can do the steps one by one and it can take your confirmation. I feel that is a better approach, which we are taking here. Okay, so it is saying step 2 is done as well, meaning it has created the workspace for all of these agents. Alright, I don't think we need to check for that. We can proceed to step 3. So let me send this, and this is going to basically enable the sessions_send functionality so that all of these agents can communicate with one another. Something like this seems very obvious to us that yes, these agents would communicate to one another, but we actually have to enable it to let them communicate to one another. So just make sure to, enable this part. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So that is also done. Let's proceed to step 4. The one I'm most excited is about step 6, which is going to set the identity and souls for all of these agents. Okay, this is also done. So let's proceed. So this is going to basically create those files for all of these agents. It's not going to fill them. It will just create them. Step 6 is going to fill them. Okay, this was quick. And finally proceed to step 6. Okay, so it is saying step 6 is complete, meaning all the souls and agents file are ready. They have been populated. We also have a fail command for Rex's agents.md file. So let's do this. Let's go to our dashboard and let's check it for ourselves. So let me refresh this page here. Okay. And if I click on main here, instead of just main, now we have Iris, Rex, and Sage. So let's go to Iris. Let's refresh this. Let's go to agents. Alright, so we have the identity for Iris. We also have the startup sequence. Nice. Then here's the soul. Cool. Let me check for Rex because we got an error for that. So let's go to the agent.md file. Yep, looks good to me. Okay. And the soul right here. We also have the memory file for them created, but it's just that we haven't added anything, so it's empty. A few more files here are tools, which we haven't created. Identity, we already have that in agents. If you want, you can create it separately. It's completely up to you. User, heartbeat, and bootstrap. I think we're fine. Alright, so agents created, they have been given their identities, roles, behaviors, soul, whatever you want to call it. And now we're going to complete step 7 and step 8. So let me ask it to proceed to step 7. And I think it has already done step 7, which is adding the startup sequence in the agents.md file. It has already done that, but it's still fine. Okay, so now proceed to step 8. Yes, proceed. So it's going to restart the gateway and it's going to confirm that everything has been set up. To be honest, we ourselves went into the dashboard and we checked it. But even if you don't check it yourself, you can just ask it to confirm and it should be able to do that. I just check it myself because sometimes I feel that AI agents could be bluffing. They don't do things, but they admit that they have done it. So I like to, keep a check of things myself. Okay, so step 8 complete. The only thing was it was not able to restart the gateway, which is fine. It's not a big problem. And the confirmations were that all the 4 agents have been registered. The teammates have no Telegram binding, which is nice. All the workspace files and folders have been created, as we can see here. We have all the workspaces, the shared workspace, the drafts folders, reports, skills, then the files like brand context, these are the shared files, and then per agent files, soul, agents, memory. Great. So the core setup is done. We have made sure that these agents have been created. The next thing that we have to make sure is the intercommunication between these agents. We have to make sure that they can speak to one another for this to work as a team, because just creating the agents doesn't do anything. They have to speak to one another to act as a team. And to test that, I'm going to send this simple prompt that test inter-agent communication now. Have Nova, which is the admin, send this exact message to Sage via sessions_send, which is Sage connectivity test, reply with your name, role, and the platforms you cover. Sage replies to Nova and Nova relays the reply to me here. Repeat the same test with Iris and Rex. Report, pass or fail for each one. You will also have access to this prompt. You can just copy paste it as is. Maybe change the names of the agents. Let's send this through. So it is saying that I can't run this inter-agent test from here. It seems like it did not really set up the sessions_send tool that we asked it to set up. So I feel I'll have to give it specific instructions to add that. So let me ask it that add these tools to all the agents in the openclaw.json file, and let me give it the exact thing that it has to add, which is tools allow sessions list, sessions history, sessions send, and session status. Okay, again, you can copy it from the prompts and let me send it. So it's saying it has done that. So now let me send that prompt again, which was the inter-agent communication test. This is exactly why I wanted to do this test, because, problems can arise between this inter-agent communication. Okay, so it's saying that all of these teammates don't have running sessions, which is the problem. So, okay, that's not a big deal. We can start a session for each one of them, and that should probably solve this. The thing here is that it is asking us to, switch to sub-agent instead of agent teams, but we're not going to switch. We're just going to create a session for each one of these teammates and we should be good. Coming to sessions inside of our dashboard, it's actually not wrong. We don't have sessions for our teammates. So let's do that. So going back to chat, what we're going to do is, by the way, if you want, you can start a new chat, but what we're going to do is in the URL, instead of main, we are going to change that to our teammate's ID or the teammate's name, which is Sage. Okay. So 3A Sage. This is the second last one. Okay. Not the last one, the second last one. We just have to change main to the agent ID and hit enter. Okay. So now we have Sage here, which is nice. So let me say, hey, confirm you are Sage and you are live. Let me send this. Yep, that is confirmed. So now if I go to sessions here, we have Sage. Great. Now we have to do the same thing for Iris. So again, I am going to change the URL to Iris. I'll change main to Iris. Let me say, hey Iris, confirm it is you. Yep, it's me. Okay. Going back to sessions, let me just confirm. Okay, it is there. And lastly, I'm going to change it to Rex. Hey Rex, confirm it is you. Yep, that worked. So now let's go back to Nova and let's tell it that yes, all of them now have active sessions, as we can see right here. And before we go back, let's do one more thing. Let's go to config and let's go to raw. Let's open this up and let's search for visibility. So I think this could also be a reason that is, causing the problem that we're facing. So let's just get rid of this part, which is all the way from allow to this comma. so that we just have the sessions and visibility is all. Let me save that. Let me reload it. And now if we go back here, yep, that is gone. And let's update that. Let me also refresh this page and we're good. And now let's try again. Okay, so let me start a new chat here. So it's working on this model. When I saw in the dashboard, it was GPT 5.2. So let me ask it to change the model, or maybe I'll change it myself. So we go to model and we browse the providers. Let's go to next. Yeah, so let's go with Anthropic Claude Sonnet 4.6. And let me ask it to send Sage a message. Tell him hi. It's saying that the session is not running, but we just did that. So let me give it the ID of the session. So the ID is agent Sage main. You can find this from the sessions tab inside of our OpenClaw dashboard. Is the session for Sage and it is running. Okay, so it's saying that agent to agent messaging is currently disabled. So let me ask it, enable it for me. Restart. Okay, so I waited for some time and the gateway got restarted. Just in case your gateway is taking time, what you can do is you can go to Hostinger and you can manually restart OpenClaw. Let me ask you to yes, try now. Okay, so Sage replied. It said, hey, what are we working on? Let's do one more. So send Iris a message, which is tell me a joke. And then we're going to go to the OpenClaw dashboard and just confirm that all of this is working and Nova is not just making it up. Okay, Iris replied and let's just check it in the dashboard. So from here, I'm going to go to Iris and let's see. So this was the last message we had sent manually. Okay. And it had replied, okay. And then there was another message, tell me a joke. And it did reply. And then it said agent to agent announce step. And then it said announced skip. Okay, whatever. So we did get our reply and it was from Iris, as we can see, and it did not make it up, which is nice. And now let me send this prompt that we have been waiting to send, the one we sent before and we got that error. So that we can, make sure everything is working fine. So let me send this over. Okay, so it is running all of them in parallel. Okay, all three passed. Sage, content creator, Iris, SEO, Rex, analytics. So finally, the inter-agent communication is working. Sessions _send is working. Sessions are live. Everything is good. Life is good. Now remember, we had created a shared folder for all of these agents, and in that folder we had a file for brand context that tells them about the brand, what it does, everything about it. So now it's time to actually add content to it before we move forward, so that these are not just any AI agents, but AI agents for your company that understand your company and work for you in the manner that your real employees do. All we're going to do is we're going to ask it to update the brand context file with this content. Now it's up to you what content you want to send it regarding your company. Here I've just taken a hypothetical company. I have given the company details, what they do, their voice, their tone, their content pillars, their active platforms, SEO and content focus, do not do instructions. Now it's really up to you how you want to describe your company to it. You could add more things, you can remove a few. Really up to you. You can even add your color palette, your SOPs, anything that you would think this team can use to improve their outputs for your company. To be honest, this is the main part, but I will share this entire prompt with you so that you can take some inspiration from it and then change it as per your company. So let's send it and let's see if it actually goes ahead and does that. Now, for some reason, it gives this write failed error, but you don't have to worry about it because we're just updating the file, so that's fine. It's probably because of a file path issue, but you don't have to worry about it. So just to double check it, I'm going to start a new session. I hope the model is still, yes, it is. All right. So let me ask it to ask Sage about our content pillars. And if the content was actually updated in the shared folder, Sage should be able to tell us about the content pillars. Okay, so it said that Sage isn't live right now. No active session found. It did that previously as well. So I think it is time for us to move to skills and we should add a delegation skill to it. Inside of that delegation skill, we are going to clearly mention how it should delegate the tasks. Firstly, in which case it should delegate to whom. And secondly, let's also mention these session IDs so that we don't keep getting the same issue, which is the session is not live, the session is not live. And after that, we will circle back and we will see if, Sage can actually tell us the content pillars or not. So let's quickly understand what skills are. So you can think of skills as reusable instructions for our AI agent. Or you can think of them as recipe cards that the AI agent follows each time it does a task. Just to take an example of what happened just now, it told us that no active sessions were found for Sage. But as soon as I tell it the session ID for Sage, it will immediately tell me that yes, I found the session and okay, I sent the message, this is what I got. This is because it does not have any reusable instructions that it can use. And typing this each time I want to delegate a task would cost token, it's a headache for me, it takes time. I don't want to do that. Instead, every time there is a delegation, I want it to look into this particular skill, look at the instructions and follow them to do the task. Let me take another example. Let's say there is a skill for Sage to create social media content for Twitter. Now this will ensure that all of our Twitter posts look alike, even though while prompting it, we might have not told it the same things. Like use this word, use this punctuation, use this style of writing. That is because the skills already have those and it will use that every time it creates a post. And hence the consistency. Now some of you might say, why do we need skills? We can just add it to the agents.md file, for example, or some other file. I wouldn't suggest that because we just want to access those skills when we are doing that particular task. It's not that I want Sage to know how to create an X post every time it is started. No, I just wanted to know that when I'm creating an X post to save tokens and cost, obviously, and hence the concept of skills. So I hope you've understood this. Now we're going to go ahead and create a skill for delegation for Nova so that it knows about the session IDs and it does not mess up each time. And similarly, we are going to create other skills for other agents and you will then be able to create more skills for your use cases. So here's what I'm going to send it. Create the file delegation.md with exactly this content. Now alternatively, you could also say create the delegation skill. That's also perfectly fine, that works. But I just like to keep things, precise to avoid any issues later on. And then we're mentioning the exact content of the skill, like all the step-by-step instructions ourselves. Alternatively, in just plain English, you could tell it what the skill should do and it would write the step-by-step skill for you. But again, as I said, I'm just mentioning everything upfront to avoid any issues later on. So here's the name, delegation skill. How to delegate. When the CEO sends a request, follow these steps exactly. You have to read the brand context file. You have to identify which agent owns the task. If it is social media, it is Sage, so on and so forth. Use the sessions_send tool to deliver the task. Wait for the reply and report back to the CEO. If the CEO sends a message, do it now. You can skip the delegation and do it yourself. Now, exact session IDs to use. This is what we wanted. For Sage, it is this session ID. Now you will find these session IDs inside your OpenClaw dashboard. Just go to sessions. You will see it right there. Or else you can just change the name of your agent. That's fine. How to call sessions_send correctly. Use the sessions_send tool with these exact parameters. We've mentioned those so that we don't face that same issue again and again. We're also giving it examples. Examples are very important. And then after receiving the reply, so we also have to tell it what to do later on. So after receiving it, you have to report it back to the CEO who handled it, one line of summary, file path, never leave the CEO waiting without a status update. After creating the file, confirm it exists by reading it back to me. So this is how you create a skill in a detailed manner, or else, as I said, you can just tell it to create a skill called delegation. It should tell Nova that every time it has to delegate a task, it first reads the file, does this, does that, and just send that. It should be able to come up with this, but I just wrote it. Again, you will find this prompt with the rest of the prompts. So let me paste the prompt here and let me send it. And it's done. That was quite simple. Okay, so now again, I'm going to ask it to ask Sage about the content pillars. Sage gave us the reply. It clearly is saying that. Now, why is it that just a few minutes ago we didn't get it and a few minutes later we got it, even though we made no other changes to OpenClaw dashboard anywhere? It's because of the skill. So now you know how powerful skills can be to make your lives easier when it comes to AI agents. So now I'm creating a couple of skills for each of these agents. So let's see. Firstly, we're creating 4 skills for Sage, which is for content generation. 1 for each platform, which is LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Same structure, create the following skill files with exactly this content. LinkedIn content skill. When assign the LinkedIn post, you have to read the brand context. You have to write a LinkedIn post following these rules, save the draft, reply to Nova. Similarly, X, Instagram, and Facebook. Now you will have access to this prompt, you can obviously read it. Now right now I haven't paid much attention to this part, which is detailing what my brand's LinkedIn post should look like, but I would highly recommend you do that because this is going to be shown across all of your posts if you intend to create one using this. And it's not that you create a skill once and that's it. You can always update it and edit it based on the responses that you're seeing. No one can get a perfect skill in one go. Now I know most people try to create skills one by one instead of sending one large prompt with all those skills they want to create. But since we are already mentioning the content of the skill, I think there is no harm in doing that. Obviously, if you are not mentioning the exact content of the skill, then you should create the skills one by one because OpenClaw has to come up with the content of the skill. Alright, so this one is for Sage. Then this is for SEO, which is Iris, 3 skills. One is for SEO research. So we're going to use web search to find the current data, trends, competitors, everything, what it has to do, what it has to reply with. Blog post, again, please make sure to, change it as per your tone. And newsletter. So 3 skills for Iris and 3 skills for Rex. One is analytics report skill. So if you want to get reports that look very alike, you have to come up with a skill. And here I just mentioned about the data, but you can also mention about how the report looks like. Like use the following colors. This is, the brand name you have to use. You can do that. Then market research skill, pre-sync brief skill. The pre-sync brief skill is very nice because every day at 7:30 a.m. it is going to basically look at the memory from all the agent workspaces and it is going to write like a compiled briefing about what each agent completed, what is pending, any blockers, I like that. So yeah, 3 skills for Rex. We're going to go ahead and send these prompts one after the other and we're going to create all of these skills. I think there are about 10 skills or something, I don't know. So let's create them. So here's the first one. Now the other thing about these skills are if the skill is created for Sage, then Iris cannot look into those skills and it cannot use those skills. Okay, so it is per agent and not for everyone. It is not shared among them. Okay, so all 4 created inside of Sage's workspace. Now here's the next one, which is for Iris. And lastly, for Rex. All done. All 3 agents are fully equipped. Now there is this command which is called skill. And if you run it, it basically tells you all the skills that your AI agent has access to. So let's see. So here's Nova, which is delegation. We just needed one. Then we have Sage, okay, Iris and Rex. All installed, ready to delegate whenever you are. And now it is time to finally test all of the hard work that we have been doing. We have successfully created our agent team. We have equipped them with skills. And now it's time to give them tasks and let's see how well they perform. So moving forward with the testing, I'm going to start a new session right here. So first we're going to start with a medium level test, which is going to be around research. And then we're going to do our final test, which is going to generate a full campaign for us. So let's start off with the simpler test. So I'm telling it I need a 2-step research task. First, have Iris do SEO research on fractional CTO hiring trends, Series B startups 2026, using web search for current data. Once Iris is done, take her findings and have Rex do a market analysis on the same, finding real numbers, company examples, and sector data to back up what Iris found. Report back with both the doc file paths, actually not the path, with both the files attached when both are done. So after both of these researches have been done by both of these separate agents in their designated areas, we are going to get the files right here inside Telegram. So let me send this and let's wait for some time. Alright, so we have got the files. So let's start with the SEO research. Okay, so SEO research on the topic, the primary keyword. So multiple service providers are bidding for this particular keyword, which is nice. Then we have some secondary keywords, okay, with the priority levels. Great. Then we have who dominates the top results, the key content themes that are ranking. Great. What people are actually asking. Amazing. Content gap analysis, key data points, competitor content to benchmark against. Great again. And recommended content strategy for talent bridge. So yeah, it outperformed my expectations. Let's look at the second one. So this is basically, the market analysis. That was more of SEO analysis. This is market analysis. So here's the executive summary, growing at 14% annually. Global market, UK specific demand signals, sector breakdown. So where the demand is the hottest. UK specific data. So here's the hourly rate, here's day rates, monthly retainers, full-time cost, okay, dominance. Now here are company examples, real fractional CTO adoption examples, financial calculus, pricing benchmarks, AI strategy angle, content gaps, okay, key numbers, recommendations. I mean, great report. One has to spend like good 10-15 minutes to read it. But overall, based on what I skimmed through, I feel it's a really nice report and it has actually done the job really nicely instead of putting together a generic report. And we never told it to give us these many sections and, we never explicitly told it. It itself came up with that, which is great. So this was a medium level test we did. So now let's do another test, which is going to be an extension to this one, but it is really going to show you how agent teams really help working parallelly. So I'm telling it, we are publishing content this week about the rise of fractional CTOs at Series B startups. Exactly what we researched about. I need a market research on how common this is becoming and why. Now the market research we did was on the hiring trends, the one we did before. This time the market research is about how common this is becoming and why. So 2 different topics. A blog post built around the best keyword from that research, a newsletter teasing the blog, and LinkedIn and X posts promoting it. Everything should reference the same insight and feel like one coordinated campaign. Reference back to the previously generated reports for more insights and return each piece of content in a separate doc file attached here. So let's send this through and let's get our team to work. So it's delegating. Iris gets blogs plus newsletter. Sage gets LinkedIn. Both get the full research brief. Alright, so we are getting our files. Let's start with the blog. So why Series B startups are hiring fractional CTOs instead of full-time? And here's the blog post. Again, backed by data. As we can see here, it's using numbers and all. The decision framework, fractional versus full-time, finding the right person, and then a CTA at the very end, which basically takes to the website. The opening is really nice actually. UK job postings for fractional CTO roles have grown 400% since 2022. So I think, that's a nice hook. And here it says, if you raised your Series B and you're still treating we need a CTO as a straightforward full-time hire, this is worth reading before you post the job spec. Really nice. Okay, let's look at the newsletter. Okay, so it's giving us 5 different subject line options for the newsletter. Option 4 is recommended. Okay. And here's the preview text. Great. Here's the body. It's like a teaser to the blog post, I must say. And we mentioned that. And here's the CTA button text options. All right, let's look at LinkedIn. Oh, it's a big post. So let me judge the hook. Most Series B founders I speak to are trying to hire a CTO. Half of them should stop. Nice, 9 on 10. Not because they don't need technical leadership. All right, it isn't not anymore. Here's what numbers actually look like, okay? The AI angle makes this even sharper. Nice. The only thing is I feel for a LinkedIn post, it's a little long. We can obviously tweak that in the skill, but otherwise it's great. Let's have a look at X. Okay, so tweet 1, tweet 2, tweet 3, and tweet 4. Cool. That was our research-backed, number-backed, data-backed campaign. And because these were a team of agents and not a single agent, we did not lose context. We did not compromise on the quality of the content because, as you can see, so much content was generated. We did not compromise on any part of it. And with that, testing is done and building our agent team is done. You know what to do next. You will find the prompts in the description. You have to change them as per your needs. You can use Claude if you want to, that's fine. Don't forget to like the video. This really took a lot of hard work. Do subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Let me know in the comments if this video really helped you in some manner or the other. You will find the link to Hostinger in the description if you want to set up your own OpenClaw instance, and you will also find the coupon codes there. If you are looking to get your business automated with AI, if you want us to look into your business, find the areas where AI can help you and implement them for you, don't forget to check out the link to our website in the description. If you want to get on a one-on-one consulting call with me, maybe you need some help, maybe you want to learn something new, you can check out the link to my consulting calendar in the description. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn. Do follow me on X. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye.